Yeah, welcome back at ICA classes. So it is a regular way of teaching to you, and we are teaching to you practically with the concept of providing you the real knowledge of the education by way of these classes. I'm thankful to IC for providing me the platform for giving classes to you because this is a privilege which has been given to me. Let's start with that. Good morning to all of you. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Very good. Vedika, Jyoti, Dhanan, Injal, Sankaran, and all of others. So start sending your presence so that we can understand how many are present now. Let's start with that. Starting with the brief discussion of AS20, which has already been discussed in our previous lecture to some extent. Yeah, good morning to Karthik, Nadeem. That's it. It meant for many are not yet present. So if you are present, send your presence beta fast. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. Very good. If you are present, send your presence beta. Yeah, Rachna, Mitesh, bhai. Very good. Sending your presence very slowly. Why? Send it fast, beta. फटाफट भेजो अपनी presence so that we can understand how many are present. Shobha, Manoj, good, good, good. And many more. Very good. So in our last AS20, we have discussed regarding the concept of EPS to some extent. So what meant for EPS that was discussed to some extent in our last lecture? It was basically earning per share, as we have already discussed. And there are two types of EPS. One is the basic EPS, second is the diluted EPS. So how to calculate, that was the concept. For that, I have taken some examples for you. In basic EPS, I have already discussed that we have to calculate first of all the net profit or loss available for us for allocation for attributable to equity shareholders, which is to be divided by the weighted average number of equity shares outstanding during the period. For that purpose, what we have to do, number of equity shares outstanding in the beginning of the year plus number of equity shares bought back or issued plus minus means we have to make adjustment of whatever further issues have been made by us or whatever shares are bought back by us will be adjusted. So for that, I have taken many examples for you and you have done it very perfectly. I'm really enlightened to see that all of you have done it very perfectly in our previous lecture. I was unable to attend the previous session. Can I attend today's session or first I need to watch that session? Angel, it will be a better option that you may have to attend today's lecture because previous lecture will be more understandable. If you will attend today's lecture, there's no problem. In today's lecture, we will go for the second part of this EPS concept, which is purely new. And one more thing, we have to do the new AS today. And obviously, you will get benefit in that also. So if you will go for the today's lecture live session, it will be a beneficial thing. Yes, you will have to see the previous lecture also because that is those concepts which have been covered there are not going to be covered today. So the second part is diluted EPS beta. That is not discussed in our previous lecture. What is diluted EPS? Let's understand this thing first. For that, I would like to take examples again, as we have done in our previous lecture. The procedure will also be same, so that we can understand that. Yeah, better we should have to take some questions for that, because that is more understandable instead of doing it otherwise. So first of all, what will be the formula for calculating this diluted EPS? Note it down, beta. You will have to note it down with you. What means for diluted? Which has been diluted, which has been, you may say, whose actual working has been diluted, changed. So that is called dilution. If we are interested to dilute something, that means for we are changing its actual structure by making addition of something in it, or by making deletion of something in it. So this is called diluted. So the word diluted comes from there कि हमने कुछ उसका जो real structure है वो change कर दिया. Now what we have to do, NP attributable to equity shareholder adjust, that we have already discussed in our previous lecture. That is net profit available for equity shareholder means for, we already know. First of all, what means for the net profit available for equity shareholder? First, send me the answer. How to get the NP attributable to equity shareholders? First of all, बताओ कैसे कैलकुलेट करोगे आप लोग, फटाफट भेजो मुझे सिर्फ ये फर्स्ट पॉइंट, NP attributable to equity shareholders. First, a general meaning which has already been done by you in previous classes also. Previous means in your maybe in +1 you also done it to some extent. +2 you may also done it to some extent. There may be a chance. So Jyotija comes first with the right answer. Good, Jyoti. Very good. Anuradha comes second. Anuradha, you will have to rectify it. Here, preference creditors are not a point. No point regarding preference creditors are there. These are preference shareholders, beta. That is preference dividend we have to pay them. Honey also give the answer, and that is also good. There's no problem. Shivlani sent the answer, but meant for NP attributable to equity shareholders. Fast. Very good. Karthik has sent. Very good, Karthik. Shabash. So we have already discussed in our previous lecture what it meant for. This is net profit after operating expenses less tax, that is profit after tax has resulted, less after operating expenses and even interest, etc., whatever it is, less preference dividend. So whatever is left, that meant for amount available for equity shareholders. Very simple to calculate. Very good, Anuradha. Very good, Manoj. Angel, very good. Shabash. So very simple working. Now, next is he says it will be adjusted for interest. It will be adjusted for interest, dividend, and other changes in expenses or income due to dilutive potential equity shares. Now, what is dilutive potential equity shares? Fast, send me the answer. What is diluted potential equity shares? Already discussed. Dilutive potential equity shares in our previous lecture. That meant for those shares which may be issued against convertible debentures or preference shares or ESOPs at some later stage, not now. So these are to be issued later on. These are not yet issued. Diluted means potential means which have potential to be converted into equity shares. We all know that we are issuing debentures. So we all know that there are convertible debentures also, in which case company may give the offer to the shareholders at some later stage that these may be converted into equity shares. And if anyone is interested, they may. In the same way, company may issue debenture convertible preference shares. If any convertible preference shares are issued by the company, which are appearing in our balance sheet, so that meant for they may be converted into equity shares at any point of time. In the same way, employee stock option plans are there, which have already been discussed with you. That meant for so what it is. These are the options. These are named as options issued to the employees of the company. This is basically an entitlement, a benefit given to the employee of the company that if you will work with us for a particular period, like 2 years or 3 years or whatever the period has been decided, then you will get equity shares of the company at discounted price. If the price of the company is 50 and they have been given an option to get the shares for rupees 40, get the shares for rupees 40, when you will get after a certain period, like 2 years, 3 years, whatever the period has been decided, then these are called ESOPs. We are calling it as ESOPs, employee stock option plans. So these can be converted into equity shares at later stage. So what we have to do in case of diluted potential equity shares, you will have to assume that these equity shares, these potential equity shares, I would like to say, these potential equity shares are issued now. That is before allocation of profit. So these are issued. We'll have to assume that. Means if equity shares are appearing in our books, actual equity shares are 1 lakh at the rate of 10 each. Now company have some debentures which are convertible debentures, I would like to say. So these are 10th on debentures at the rate of 100 each. That is 10 lakhs. So these will be later on converted into equity shares worth rupees 10 lakh, obviously. So we have to assume that the total equity shares will be so if we assume that total equity shares would be 1 lakh, that is this one, plus if these 10 lakh will be converted into equity shares of rupees 10 each, then how much equity shares will be issued? 10 lakh divided by 10 is equal to 1 lakh. So it means for total equity shares for calculating diluted EPS will be 2 lakh in this case. That is, we have assumed that these debentures are already converted into equity share, that we will have to assume beta. What is DVR beta? It includes share warrants also. So all that is included. So this is a simple example of it. You may note it down with you. It may be it may include convertible preference shares. It may include share warrants. It may include ESOPs, whatever it is. So all these will be added. When these will be added, obviously we have to assume that these equity shares are issued now before allocation of profit, and accordingly interest and dividend payments will change. That means for if these are 10% debentures on which we are giving interest of rupees 10 lakh into 10%, that is 1 lakh. We are giving interest also. No? If these are debentures, we are also giving them interest. Now, if these debentures are converted into, if these debentures are converted into equity shares, then interest will not be paid beta. So accordingly, profit will also change. Assume net profit assume net profit is equal to 2 crores, tax is equal to 20%, preference dividend is equal to 5 lakhs. Get how much amount is earlier, how much amount was available for equity shares. Get amount available for equity shareholders fast. When means you have to calculate basic EPS. So first get the basic EPS beta. For calculating basic EPS, what we need? We need net profit available for equity shareholders. We are normally writing it as amount available for, or profit attributable to equity shareholders divided by number of equity shares. So how much it is? It will be 2 crore minus 1 lakh, that is interest. So this is 1 crore 99 lakhs minus 20% tax minus preference dividend 5 lakhs. So this is amount available for equity shareholders. सबसे पहले क्या करते हैं, 2 करोड़ आपका टोटल एनपी है, उसमें से आपने 1 लाख रुपीज इंटरेस्ट माइनस कर देना, जितना बच गया उसमें से whatever is left, उसमें से क्या करोगे, you will have to deduct 20% tax and then preference dividend will be deducted. So very simple to get. One crore 99 lakhs. It is 339 lakh 80,000, which will be deducted. It will be 1 crore 59 lakh 20,000. It will be 1 crore 54 lakh 20,000. 1 crore 1 crore 54 lakh 20,000 is the amount available for equity shareholders. Now basic EPS is equal to divided by number of equity shares. So it is 1 lakh. This was 10 lakh. It was 10 lakh, no? Total equity shares. Yeah. Equity shares are worth 1 lakh. $154.20 per share. Shilani, shares that are given as actual, they are normal shares. Shares are always normal shares. There's no difference between normal shares and converted shares because when once a share is issued, it is a normal equity share. So what we are talking about, those shares which are not yet issued. Those are potential equity shares. Once those will be issued after converting from debentures or preference shares, they will become normal shares. Sweet equity shares can be included, yes. What is contingency issuable shares? No problem. That we will discuss. That means for those shares which will be issued in case of some contingency, which are not yet issued, but they may be issued in case that contingency will occur. So you may assume that we have given shares to someone that if this loss will occur, then we will issue these shares to you. So that is called contingent shares. If profit increases due to saving of interest cost, then company has to pay dividend to them. If profit increases due to saving of interest cost, then company has to pay dividend. Actually, you're right. Good, very good. So get diluted equity share in diluted EPS in this case. How to calculate the diluted EPS? For that, first of all, you have to calculate the amount available for equity shareholder again. Now we have to calculate amount available for equity shares after adjustment of dividend, interest, or tax, or any other adjustment. Required if required due to issue of potential equity shares. Means we will have to assume if these shares are issued, and if these shares are issued, then what adjustment will be made in interest, dividend, or tax that you have to make. You have to make that adjustment, and after then you have to calculate the amount available for equity shareholder, and that will be divided by the total equity shares, including potential equity shares. Including potential equity shares. So again, it is very simple. Amount available for equity shareholders after adjustment of dividend, interest, tax. That means for in the given case, if debentures are converted into debentures are converted, if these are not yet issued, converted, if these are converted into equity shares, then obviously no interest will be paid. So get how much will be the amount available for equity shareholders. Obviously, in that case, 2 crore minus zero interest minus is equal to 2 crore minus 20%, that is tax. It will also change because it is based on percentage, minus 5 lakh preference dividend. So it will be 1 crore 55 lakhs divided by total number of equity shares, that is 1 lakh equity shares were actually issued equity shares, and 1 lakh will be the converted shares from the debentures. So it will be 2 lakh. $72.5 per share. This is called diluted EPS beta. Uh, Angel, it is not 77,500, it will be 72.5. So it is 77.5. ओके, गुड, वेरी गुड। इसलिए मैंने लिखा था, मैंने कहा इसके बहाने आप चेक तो कर लोगे। Even we will not have to assume that when it is issued, when it is converted, even date is not a mandatory issue while calculating diluted EPS. So while calculating diluted EPS, we have to just do it in a simple way as we have discussed. It will not be done in any other way. The way whatever I have given, that is the only way which is to be used in this case. So what are the important points which are to be kept into mind while doing this thing? Let's see that. These are some important points which are to be kept into mind. First of all, the net profit or loss for the period is to be adjusted for the effect of all potential equity shares. Net profit, that is to be increased by the amount of dividend recognized in the period in respect of the diluted equity shares as adjusted. So that we have already done. So all that we have already discussed. So how to convert, yeah, how to calculate regarding ESOPs, that we will discuss only after discussing ESOP chapter that I will cover within next 2 or 3 lectures. I will cover that ESOP chapter. Then you will better understand that concept of ESOPs beta. Some definitions are to be discussed as queries are coming for those definitions regarding this EPS chapter. Due to conversion of debentures into equity shares decreases by 50% EPS of equity shares in our example, then how they agree for that? But this is not a point of agree, because equity shareholders are never called and asked what you have to do, because liabilities are their liabilities, not mine. Who are equity shareholder? They are the real owners of the company, so they have to pay to them. If they are able to pay to them, that is very good. If they are not able to pay to them, obviously company will have to. These have to be discussed when the debentures are issued by the name of convertible debentures. So it is not going to be asked from equity shareholders. Nothing is going to be asked from equity shareholder. Let it be very much clear, because in these cases of companies, no such thing is there. डिल्यूटेड के केस में इंटरेस्ट कंसिडर नहीं करते अगर वो कन्वर्टेबल डिवेंचर्स है. नॉर्मल डिवेंचर्स का इंटरेस्ट कंसिडर करेंगे. Differential voting right is clear to everyone. That means for those who have some differential voting right. Good. Now going to discuss regarding bonus shares and right shares. So tell me, what is the bonus shares? What means for bonus shares? Fast. I'm doing it very slowly. I'm not taking too much speed, because even I'm not trying to cover the AS by way of reading that AS. I'm trying to do it practically so that you can understand the concept, not just memorize the AS. Because once you will understand the concept, you can write it in your own language. Because what we will get in our exams, preferably we will get practical questions from this AS. Due to that reason, I am trying to cover only the practical aspect of this chapter, not the theory aspect like line to line meaning, because that is not required at all. This is a understanding. This is a chapter which is to be understood. If all profit attributable through basic EPS, then how will diluted EPS paid? No diluted EPS is going to pay. This is just for the purpose of calculation and showing it in their financial statements, nothing else. So this is just a disclosure requirement. Let's understand this. Good query has come that why we are calculating diluted EPS. Why we are calculating basic EPS? Basic EPS is also not going to be paid by the company. That is just disclosed by the company. Whatever is paid by the company, that is a dividend which is to be declared by the company. The company may show that my basic EPS is 154.20, and company says I'm going to pay dividend of ₹10 per share to every shareholder. अरे भैया 154 रुपए कमाए थे और 10 रुपए दे रहे हो सिर्फ. You have earned ₹154 and paying a dividend of ₹10 only. No one can ask the company. Company says I need the money for the purpose of further development. I need it to be kept in my reserve. So that is all depending upon the company. So this is just a disclosure that how much basic EPS is there, how much diluted EPS is there. This is also disclosure, nothing else. Company is not going to pay any diluted EPS to anyone. This is just for the purpose of calculation. See, here it is specifically mentioned. This is to determine principles for determining and presenting of EPS, which will improve comparison of performance among different enterprises for the same period and among different accounting period for the same enterprise. This is just a comparison statement. This is just for the sport of comparison statement. This is just a ratio indicating the amount of profit or loss attributable to equity shareholders. That is it. And for determining and presenting, not paying, of basic and diluted EPS. That's it. Remaining, obviously, you know it very well that we are giving disclosure. See, here it is. In our disclosure that has been specifically mentioned, beta. Where the statement of profit or loss include extraordinary items, basic and diluted EPS computed on the basis of earning, the amount used, earning excluding extraordinary items, net of tax expense. So if there is any extraordinary item, that will be adjusted. That will be reversed for calculating of this particular basic EPS. The amount used as the numerator in calculating basic and diluted EPS and a reconciliation of those amount to the net profit of this is just an enterprise should disclose. That's it. The weighted average number of equity shares. That's it. The nominal value of share along with the EPS figure. That's it. So this is just a way of presentation. Nothing else is there, beta. No payment is to be made according to it. Should present basic and diluted EPS on the face of the statement. That's it. An enterprise should present both on the face of the statement of profit or loss for each class of equity share that has a different right to share in the net profit or loss. Require an enterprise to present even if the amount disclosed are negative. That's it. Discloses in addition to basic and diluted per share amount using a reported component. That's it. This is all regarding disclosure beta, nothing else. Reduction of reserves. Okay. Bonus shares are shares issued to existing shareholders. Good answer. Shivlani, Vedika. So many answers are given. I'm going to take the name. I'm going to take the concept. Okay, very good. Very good. Very good. Many students have sent the answer. I'm enlightened to see your answer, but I would like to go for a practical case study for this purpose so that you can understand it in a better way. Okay. Let's do it from your module. What is EPS TTM? I doesn't know what name you're using. TTM. I have some question on technical issues like bonus share, right share, etc. Because those are required in this chapter now. All of you have read this, yes or not? Let's see illustration number 3. Illustration number 3 given in your module. Have you read this, yes, beta? Shivlani have read it only. Remaining haven't read it. It means for, no? Very good. So Jyoti has read it, Vinay has read it, Angel has not read it. Very bad. I already given you the homework regarding this. So those who have read it, confirm that they have read it. Because now it is very much important. If they have read it, it will be very easy for them. Otherwise, you have to understand it in a serious manner. Now, let's understand it. NP, when in case of bonus share, some important points are there. Let's understand that first. If you have read it, it is very good. Potential वाला concept only diluted EPS पर लगता है. Exactly, beta. Potential concept is applicable on diluted EPS only. Jyoti, very good. Priyanka, very good. Very good. So read this point. First of all, equity shares may be issued on the number of shares outstanding. Equity shares may be issued. In case of bonus issue, what happens? Equity shares may be issued, or the number of shares outstanding may be reduced without a corresponding change in resources. That is, a bonus issue, bonus element in any other issue, share split, a reverse. That means for if we are making any changes in our share issue system, then what will happen? Obviously, number of shares will change. You all know that when bonus shares are issued, what happens? Like company has 1 lakh shares at the rate of 10 each. That is 10 lakh. Now, what company is doing in case of bonus shares? Company is giving free of cost shares to its existing shareholders. Like company is saying, I am giving 1 share against every 4 shares. 1 for every 4 shares. That is 25,000 shares will be issued by the company as bonus shares. So this will be issued without any payment to be received from them, but automatically these are issued at face value. So in our books of accounts, our shares will increase by 25,000 shares, 1,25,000. But due to this reason, your earnings will not be affected, but EPS will have to be affected because number of equity shares are changed. Net profit is not going to change. So that he is saying equity share issued to existing shareholders for no additional consideration. The number of equity shares is increased without an increase in resources. Before the event is adjusted for the proportionate change in the number of equity shares outstanding as if the event had occurred at the beginning of the earliest period reported. So this is a concept that whenever it is to be calculated, we have to assume, because we all know that equity shares, the bonus shares are issued out of reserves only. And that reserve is of previous years. Because we are preferring to go for CRR, GR, capital reserve received in cash for the purpose of issuing bonus shares. So that means for these are of previous years. If these are issued, then we will have to assume that this will affect your previous year calculation also. So for the proportionate change in the number of shares as if the event had occurred at the beginning of the earliest period reported. Now, whenever we are presenting our balance sheet for 22-23, do you know that we must have to give disclosure of our balance sheet of 21-22 with that? When जब भी बैलेंस शीट हम लोग प्रेजेंट करते हैं, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट प्रेजेंट करते हैं, उसमें दो कॉलम होते हैं, याद रखो. Whenever financial statements are prepared by the company, what happen in this way? It is prepared 22, 23, 21, 22. So the reporting period is 22-23, but simultaneously we have to report for 21-22 also. Previous year data is also to be given while presenting financial statements. It's a rule. It's a rule in case of corporates. So we are talking about corporates only now at time. So he says, if we are going to report for the particular period, then obviously we have to assume that it is also affecting your previous year. So due to that reason, it will impact the current year adjustment also. It will impact the calculation of EPS of last year also. So EPS calculation of 2 years will change. One is of the current year and second is of the previous year in case of EPS, in case of bonus shares. Security premium also. Exactly, beta. Shabash. See, here it is. In the given case, illustration number 3, he says 18 lakh is the net profit of the previous year. And this is the net profit of the current year. Number of equity share outstanding in the current year up to 30th of September, 20 lakh. Now bonus issue is made during the year. That is 2 shares for each equity share outstanding. That means for if 20 lakh shares are outstanding, because this is number of equity shares, then we have to issue 1 for every 2. 2 shares for each equity share outstanding, sorry. So it means for we have to issue 2 for 1. So how many bonus shares will be issued? 40 lakh. So bonus shares will become, the total shares will become 20 plus 40 is equal to 60 lakh for the current year. So that means for when we have to calculate basic EPS, then we have to take net profit of the current year as normal, 60 lakh divided by 60 lakh shares. So obviously it will become rupees 1 per share. Now, one additional thing will be done. That is, we have to adjust the EPS of previous year also. Now that is to be recalculated. That if these bonus shares are issued in the previous year, because this is for the reason of previous year, we have kept some profits in reserves, or we have to issue this for the reason of previous year, and we have to obviously make comparison. Every equity shareholder, every creditor means users of financial statements. You know, the users of financial statement. For their benefit, what we are doing, we are preparing it for 2 years, not for 1 year. So here we are showing that our profit is 60 lakhs and our equity shareholders are 60 lakhs and EPS is rupees 1 per share. Here we are showing that our profit is 18 lakh and our shareholders are 20 lakh and our EPS is 18 by 20. That is, it will be 0.9. So that is purely wrong because this is calculated on the basis of 20 lakh, this is calculated on the basis of 60 lakh. So to make better comparison, this is again, I'm saying this is just for disclosure. We are not going to change the previous year financial statement. This is for the purpose of disclosure in our current statement so that comparison can be made easily. What we will do, we will add 40 lakh in it. In that case, this will become 60 lakh to make it equivalent. Because bonus share are not giving any consideration to us. So for this purpose, we will calculate 18 divided by 60 lakh. It will be 0.3, it is 1. So it is a better improvement. Good improvement in profit is there, because actually we are seeing that the profit has increased from 18 lakh to 60 lakh. So it is a big increase. And equity shares are also similar. If you will see 20 lakh, 20 lakh. But the problem is we have we have issued some bonus shares of 40 lakhs. The complete picture is changed, which will affect our business financial statements to let it unimpacted. What we will do? We will do it like this: 60 lakh divided by 60 lakh, and in the same way, 18 lakh divided by 60 lakh. In that case, it will come 1, it will come 0.3. So this is a good comparison statement. Remaining is you need not to worry, just you have to do it. That's it. Because such a technical aspect will be covered in CA final only. I'm just discussing that. Yeah, calculation part will be there in the exams. Since the bonus issue is an issue without consideration, issue is treated as if it has occurred prior to the beginning of the year, earliest period reported. The issue of equity shares at the time of exercise or conversion of potential shares will not usually give rise to a bonus element, since the potential will usually have been issued for full value. So that is very simple, that it doesn't have any effect on diluted EPS. In a right share, the exercise price is often less than the fair value of the share. Therefore, right share usually include a bonus element. The number of equity shares to be issued in calculating EPS for all period prior to the right issue is number of equity share outstanding prior to the issue multiplied by the following adjustment factor. So in case of right issue also, we have to make some adjustment beta. And that adjustment will be based on the benefit given to the equity shareholders. Like market value of our equity share is rupees 50. We have given them this share for rupees 40 only, or 25 you may say. We have given them right share for rupees 25 only. So that means for they have been given 100% benefit. They have been given benefit of 25. So the bonus element included in this amount is 25. Accordingly, a formula is used: fair value per share immediately prior to the exercise of right. Whatever is the fair value before the issue of right, that is 50. And what is the theoretical X right fair value per share? Means the rate at which this right share is issued. जिस पे right share को issue करते हैं ना, उससे इसको divide कर देंगे कि हम लोगों को ये फैक्टर मिल जाएगा। ये फैक्टर को यूज क्या करेंगे, ये प्रैक्टिकली करके दिखाता हूं मैं अभी आपको। जस्ट वेट एंड वॉच। ये भी वही लास्ट ईयर की एडजस्टमेंट के लिए है, अदरवाइज इट इज नथिंग, काफी इजी है अदरवाइज। लेट्स सी illustration number 4 बेटा। वेरी सिंपल illustration, very easy to understand, don't worry. After this we will cover a very we will cover an AS which will be comparatively very understandable and easy, don't worry, है ना। इसमें थोड़ा सा टफ पॉइंट्स है, बट मुझे लगता है मजा आ रहा होगा, बिकॉज बेसिक ईपीएस आपने किया, डिल्यूटेड किया, वो सब समय लग रहा था। बोनस शेयर किया, थोड़ा सा दिमाग में इंपैक्ट पड़ा कि ये लास्ट ईयर का क्यों करा, वो भी समय लग गया। अब राइट शेयर में थोड़ा सा करेंगे, ध्यान से देखना है, एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आने वाले हैं, आते हैं एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन, इसलिए इसको करना है अच्छी तरह से। कुछ भी नहीं है ज्यादा, बस थोड़ा एक बार क्वेश्चन कर लोगे ना तो आपको प्रैक्टिस हो जाती है। सो एनपी इज 11 lakh last year, current year it is 15 lakh, 5 lakh equity shares outstanding prior to right issue. So right issue is made for rupees 15. Last date to exercise right is 1st March. One new share for each 5 share outstanding. That means for against 5 lakh shares, you have to issue one for every 5. That is 1 lakh. Fair value of one equity share immediately prior to exercise of right on 1st March was 21. So very simple. First of all, you have to calculate for the current year. We have to calculate for the current year as well as for the previous year. How to get it? Very simple, beta. Very, very simple. Just try to understand this thing. What will happen? First of all, we have to calculate the theoretical X right price. Let's understand this thing. Earlier, our profit was 15 lakh. for 5 lakh shares. Okay. Now what will happen? We have further issued 1 lakh shares at rupees 15. So we have to first of all get theoretical X right price. This is basically a right share chapter which has already been done by you, or which will have been done by, which will have to be covered in this class. Theoretical X right price. The formula is very simple. First of all, get the value of equity shares divided by number of equity shares. So what is the value of equity shares? See here it is. Earlier you have 5 lakh shares at the rate of 21 because the value is 21. 5 lakh shares have the fair value of rupees 21. So 5 lakh into 21 plus we have issued 1 lakh shares for rupees 15. 1 lakh for rupees 15 divided by beta number of equity shares. Now how many shares will be there? 5 lakh plus 1 lakh, 6 lakh. So this will be the X right price, that is 20. मीन्स एवरेज प्राइस आ गया, वेटेड एवरेज प्राइस आ गया. हमने वेटेड एवरेज प्राइस निकाल लिया कि हमारा वेटेड एवरेज प्राइस क्या है, कि शेयर्स का रेट कितना चेंज हो जाएगा. देखो ना आप 5 लाख शेयर आपके पास 5 लाख शेयर अर्लियर है 21 के हिसाब से, तो 1 लाख शेयर आपने और इश्यू कर दिए, तो अब उनका एवरेज रेट क्या हो जाएगा? वेटेड एवरेज रेट उनका 20 हो जाएगा. इसे थ्योरेटिकल एक्स राइट प्राइस कहते हैं बेटा, नोट कर लो. मजा आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा? पढ़ाई में अगर आप कुछ नई लर्निंग के हिसाब से करोगे तो मजा आएगा, एंजॉय होगा. इजी है, वेरी गुड वेरी गुड. Students are sending the comment that is it is comparatively very easy. So first of all we need the X right price, that is 20. Then we have to calculate the adjustment factor. Adjustment factor is what? Actual price is 20. The weighted average price is 20, which has been reduced due to the reason of issue of this right share. Otherwise, the price was 21. So 21 divided by 20, that means for the benefit goes to right shareholders will be 1.05. So 1.05 is the adjustment factor, which will help us to calculate the EPS. Okay, beta. Just you have to remind these two formulas, which are very important for right share chapter also. Maybe it is in the syllabus. It is in your syllabus either in this year or last year. So that is to be checked. It means paper 1 or paper 5. So how to calculate the EPS? Very simple. The formula, simple formula for EPS, as we know, that is number of equity, amount available for equity shareholders, that is 11 lakh divided by 5 lakh, whatever it is, that is 2.20. Okay, this is the last year EPS. Now this is to be calculated again. This is to be restated. First of all, you have to calculate the original reported. So we have reported that earlier that it was 2.20. Now it is re-reported. So how much will be the re-reported shares? Number of shares will change by multiplying with the adjustment factor. It will be multiplied with the number of shares. So now it is to be recalculated as 2.10. That's it. So this is the regarding last year. Previous year restatement. This is called restatement of EPS beta. Restatement of EPS of 2011. Value of right, exactly. Angel have already mentioned that it is already covered in the last year. But total concept is not covered, only partial concept was covered because we are calculating theoretical X right price there only. So EPS for 2012 will be calculated accordingly now. Now for calculating EPS for current year, what do you have to do? First of all, we have to consider the time factor also. Let's understand this. 5 lakh shares were available with us. 5 lakh shares were available with us for the first 2 months only, 2 by 12. So this will be getting on the basis of last year formula. That is 5 lakh into 1.05 into 2 by 12. This is for last year. This is just like last year, because in first 2 months it was that. Later on, the shares have been converted into 6 lakh and no multiplying factor will be there into 10 by 12. So period concept is made 5 lakh 87,500. Now for getting EPS, what you have to do, whatever the profit is divided by number of equity shares after making adjustment of right shares. So this is the EPS that we have done. So the minor change is there. This is to be done. EPS for the year 2012. That's it. So this is a question for you. You have to do it from your home. घर से कर सक अभी कर लो चलो. Do it now. This is a question for you. Do it now. Time factor is not considered in case of bonus shares, because in case of bonus shares we have to do according to that formula. That is, we have to change the previous year also. Here also time factor is not considered. If you will see, we have just considered time factor for the purpose of making comparison properly, because what we have done, we have multiplied it with 1.05 also. So if we have multiplied it with 1.05 and this is also multiplied with 1.05, that means for we have reconverted it according to current year also. So no matters at all. You need not to worry, beta. जैसे करवाया वैसे करना है बस. Why 2 by 12? That is not clear. Okay. Why 2 months time taken? Okay, no problem. Just wait. Yeah. In the given case, see here it is. This is basically 1st January to 31st December. Here was this. Okay. So the right issue was made on 1st of March. So 2 months are the period. So during this 2012, what will happen? From 1st January 2012 to 28th Feb 2012, we have 5 lakh shares. And obviously on 1st of March, when right issue was declared, for 10 months, this is for 2 months and this is for 10 months, beta. Shares are converted, and obviously 5 lakh plus 1 lakh, that is 6 lakh shares will become. I got stuck in this question because I thought it was talking about financial year, but actually it is talking about calendar year. Exactly 2 months कैसे लिया है? X right price 145. Very good. I think this is clear now. Now you have to do this question. New question for you. Do it all. सभी ने करना है, अभी करना है. करके दिखाओ मुझे. इसमें आप लोग सबसे पहले फेयर वैल्यू निकाल के भेजो. एक्सराइट प्राइस. डू इट फास्ट बेटा, जल्दी जल्दी करो. गेट इट फास्ट बेटा, जल्दी निकालो. वेरी गुड, शाबाश, डू इट. So theoretical X rate price is already calculated by many students. Let's see how much it is. It is very simple. Theoretical X rate price. So then 22-23 profit is also given. NP. This is rupees 50 crores. It was 5 lakh into 150 plus 1 lakh into 120 divided by 6 lakhs. It is 145 beta. So the right answer is 145 per share. And adjustment factor is with you. This is 145 divided by 150. So this is 0.967. Sorry, I have done it reverse. It is 150 divided by 145 beta. $1.0345. So this is the adjustment factor. Good, very good. Is that clear to everyone? Now we have to calculate the EPS of last year. So how it is to be done? (2021-22) EPS original was 15 crore divided by 5 lakh. 15 crore divided by 5 lakh. This is the original. Then EPS restated is equal to 15 crore divided by 5 lakh into 1.0345. So this is regarding 21-22. And regarding 22-23, what do you have to do? Very good. Do it. It is 300s. Very good. So it is 291.26. Good. Very good. Get it for 22-23 fast. It is 290 exactly. If you'll do it with proper calculation, it will be 290 beta. Exact 290 will come. You may also do it by 5 lakh into 150 divided by 145. You may do it like this also. Good, very good. Angel, very good. Do it. Remainings will have to do it also. Remaining will have to do it also fast. Jyoti Jha. You may do it like this. This is a better option because if you will multiply in this way, you will get exact answer. So first of all, get the number of equity shares for 22-23. How much it is? Tell me how much will be the number of equity shares after making adjustment factor. After adjusting. Very good. Vinay have also read it. Shivlani has also read it. Good, good, good. Abdul has calculated it. Very good. So 5 lakh into 150 divided by 145 to get exact into 6 by 12 plus 6 lakh into 6 by 12. Okay, how much it is? $558,621. It is not rounded off even. It will be paid in cash normally, but even then, why we have to do it like this? Because in exam, it will not come into this way. So it will be 5,58,621. Now what do you have to do? Profit is with you 50 crores, which will be divided by 558,621 beta. 895.1. Answer is why 6 by 12? Because this time it is on 1st of October. Yes, it is on 1st of October, beta. And here accounting year is 21-22. You may see here it is. Here I have taken accounting year as 21-22. That means for 1st April to 31st March is the accounting year. And 1st October 22 is the date of issue. So 6 months are taken accordingly. Because for first 6 months, that is from 1st of April 22 to 30th of September 22, it was 5 lakh shares. And from 1st of October 22 to 31st of March 22, 6 months, it was 6 lakh shares. So I think this is clear to everyone. Okay, good, good, good. Shivlani, this is right, whatever we are doing. Okay. So in exams, we have to consider these things, which is very important. No matter if there is, it comes into point, you need not to worry. So accordingly, we have done it. So after the break, we will go for the next AS. This AS is clear according to my opinion. So, sir, have a break of 10 minutes, then we will come back. So after the break, we're going to start with the next ES, ES 26. ES 26, new ES which we're going to cover. Obviously, some interesting type of ES, because if you will see that earlier ES, whatever you have done, some ES are very interesting and some ES are to some extent they are boring to some extent. But here, if you will talk about ES 26, it is comparatively a interesting ES. You may also see it and say that it is an interesting ES once you will read its name. What is the name of this ES? What is the, oh, yeah, we will cover ES 22 and ES 24 also. There's no problem. Just I am jumping from one ES to another ES to make it interesting for you. ES 26 is somehow very interesting and it will be preferably covered within the remaining time of 45 minutes or 1 hour. So due to that reason, I'm going to cover it. In the next lecture, I will go for ES 22 and then ES 24. You need not to worry, Vita. Okay, Angel? So read the name of this ES. It will be a comparatively interesting ES for you, because here it is not finalized that in which lecture which ES is to be covered. Application of accounting standards are to be covered. So I may take any ES. ठीक है? तो मजा आना चाहिए, हमें पढ़ाई का इंजॉयमेंट होना चाहिए, पढ़ाई बोरिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए. होना क्या चाहिए, हम पढ़े 1 घंटा, उसके बाद 5-10 मिनट इंजॉय करें, या हम लोग पहले प्रैक्टिकल किया तो 1 घंटे के बाद हम थ्योरी करें, फिर प्रैक्टिकल करें, फिर थ्योरी करें, फिर पढ़ाई का मजा आता है. अगर हम रेगुलर थ्योरी पढ़ते जाएंगे तो थक जाएंगे, हम पढ़ाई की बुक को फेंक देंगे और भाग जाएंगे. तो अगर हम लोग 1 घंटा थ्योरी, 1 घंटा प्रैक्टिकल, 1 घंटा थ्योरी, 1 घंटा प्रैक्टिकल ऐसे पढ़ते हैं तो मजा ज्यादा आता है. तो पढ़ाई चलती रहती, कंटिन्यूटी भी तो बनानी पड़ती है. तो इसीलिए आई एम गोइंग टू टेक दिस एस बिट्टा, intangible assets. So let's start with this. Yes. So what is intangible asset? First, tell me. Everyone knows about the intangible assets. An asset to whom we can't touch and see is a intangible asset. And obviously it will be covered under the fixed assets, because we are talking about the fixed assets only. We are not talking about the current assets. So very simple definition is given to you. Everyone knows about it, that those which are covered in other ES will not be covered here. Financial assets, that is current assets, will not be covered here. Mineral rights and expenditure or on the exploration or development or extension of mineral oil, etc. Like some people are extracting these mineral rights, taking mineral rights from the government. So that is not covered here. You know, intangible asset arising in insurance will not be covered. In insurance enterprises, from contracts with policy holders, that will not be covered. Others will be covered. So some are covered and some are not covered. It will all depends. So which will be covered? Computer softwares will be covered. Means all other intangible assets will be covered. So what is not covered, that is already clear. Except is written, AS 26 should be applied by an enterprise in accounting. In accounting. So we are talking about accounting now, because here accounting is here. Here it is not a disclosure. It is basically an accounting part. You may also see the objective. Here we have to see the accounting treatment for intangible assets that are not dealt with specifically in another accounting standard. So if accounting treatment of particular intangible asset is not covered in any AS, then that will be covered here. We'll have to check how to measure the carrying amount, means how much value to be entered in the books of accounts, to be entered in books of accounts. That is the most important part, and requires certain disclosure. And then last but not the least, obviously disclosures, whatever is required, it will be specifically applied to other intangible assets. As I'm talking, it has been specifically mentioned that it will cover computer softwares also. Other expenditures such as startup cost, it will be covered. In extracting industries, it will be applicable. Now, the mineral right taken by us, expenditure on the exploration for development or extraction of material, that will not be covered. But this AS will be applicable on extractive industries or by insurance enterprises. So insurance enterprises contract with policyholders, it will not be covered. But other things will be other intangible assets used and other expenditure in extracting industries or by insurance company. Better we have to go for the detailed aspect, because somehow it will create a problem for you, because you are not able to understand this, what is the difference between these extracting industries at two places. So see here, it is given. Here it will be given in detail that it will not be applicable on AS inventories, construction contract, stock of construction, in case of intangible asset held by an enterprise for sale in the ordinary course of business. So that is just like even if an intangible asset is with me, but that has been held by an enterprise for sale in the ordinary course of business, then it will not be covered here, because in that case it will be just like an inventory. Deferred tax asset is not covered. Leases are not covered in this case. And one more thing, which is very, very, very important, if we'd like to say, here it has been mentioned, should be applied by an enterprise for accounting that are covered by another accounting. For example, it doesn't apply to 1, 2, 3. Fourth is this one, goodwill of what arising on amalgamation and goodwill arising on consolidation, because those are already covered in AS 14 and AS 21 beta. So these are already covered. AS 21 is not in our syllabus. Okay. So AS 14 and AS 21 means goodwill is covered in this AS. Let it be very much clear. But obviously, it will not cover goodwill arising due to amalgamation and goodwill arising due to consolidation. That is holding companies concept. Now, AS 26 applies to other intangible assets used, such as computer software, other expenditures in extractive industries and or by insurance enterprises. तो उनके अलावा जो उनके द्वारा जो खर्चे होंगे उस पे कवर होगा ये. ठीक है. It also applies to advertisement, training, startup cost, research and development activities, licensing agreements, motion picture films, patents, copyright, etc. इन पे applicable है ये. On these it will be applicable. Okay. Also it will be applicable on goodwill, patents, trademark, copyright. Okay. Here it is specifically mentioned. It will be applicable on goodwill, patents, research and development activities means patented, training, advertisement, startup cost, trademark, copyright, licenses agreement of motion picture films, video recording, etc. It will be covered. So it will all be applied on this. Vinay has asked a query like a person who is dealing in sale of these agreements. Some persons are there who are purchasing the agreements and then purchasing these licenses and selling these licenses, like video recording license, okay, motion picture license. They have the licenses acquired from someone who is interested to give it, who is interested to sell it, and then they are selling to someone who is interested to purchase it. They are dealing in that business. So those persons who are providing such type of services of purchasing and selling of licenses, or these you may say they help two persons to purchase and sell their license of this particular thing, or they are in the business of providing services. They are providing services of purchase or sale of patents. So I have made a research of some particular thing. So I'm not interested to manufacture myself. I'm interested to give it to someone else. So some person is there, he's interested to work as an agent or a mediator. He's going to take over from me and sell it to someone else. So they are dealing in this particular thing ना, जो लोग पेटेंट्स की सेल परचेज का बिजनेस कर रहे हैं तो उन पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा, बिकॉज उन पे तो ES2 चला जाएगा ना, बिकॉज वो तो इन्वेंट्री होगी उनके लिए. Read the remaining definitions and ask me the query. Amortization, depreciable amount, useful life, asset, fair value, an active market, monetary asset. Yeah, first page. Whatever is given on first page, read it and ask the query from me. Fast. Very good. Shabash, do it. Very good. Shabash, do it. Non-monetary assets. Okay, good. Depreciable amount of intangible assets over useful life. We will discuss in detail, Khushi, regarding depreciable amount of intangible assets over useful life. Okay, so that has been given here, amortization. So it is to be discussed here, it will be better option. What is amortization? That means for writing off. Writing off, that means for debiting to profit or loss account. Just like depreciation. Just like depreciation. The systematic allocation of the depreciable amount of an intangible asset. Assume I have a intangible asset whose value is rupees 1 crore. According to my opinion, its life is 5 years. So I have to amortize, means write it off, means debit it to P&L account with rupees 20 lakh per annum. That means for amortization, an entry will be made. Profit or loss account debit to intangible asset. So this entry will be passed every year with rupees 20 lakhs. An active market is the example of perfect competition. Actually, there's no problem. No, this is not a point that it need a physical substance. If anything is to be written off, it is to be written off. How you are writing off Vinjesh Angel? Angel has asked a query why, how we will have to write it off like intangible assets को कैसे write off करेंगे? इनका physical substance तो होता ही नहीं है. तो मुझे बताओ आप preliminary expenses को कैसे write off करते थे? आप preliminary expenses को भी तो write off करते थे बेटा. आप गुडविल को भी राइट ऑफ करते रहे हो बचपन से ही, तब तो नहीं पूछा आपने भी. ये राइट ऑफ कौन सा हमने उठा के उसको कहीं पर फेंकना है? राइट ऑफ करना है, हमने एंट्रीज डालनी है, हमारी तो पहले ही सब कुछ इंटेंजिबल है, बिकॉज हम तो जनरल एंट्रीज डालने वाले बंदे हैं, हम लोग तो अकाउंटिंग करने वाले हैं, हमारी तो सर्विस ही जो है वो इंटेंजिबल में आ जाती है, तो दैट इज नॉट ए पार्ट ऑफ डिस्कशन. There is no salvage value. Manoj says, in case of intangible asset, there is no salvage value. Yes, I may have to say it because this point has never come to my mind, but this is the right thing. AS21 is not in our syllabus. Exactly, beta. Okay. So I think all is read by all the students. Monetary assets are money held and assets to be received in fixed or determinable amount of money. And non-monetary asset other than monetary asset. So that means for those which have some money value and that is a fixed money value. Assets to be received in fixed or determinable amount of money are named as monetary assets. Those who doesn't have any money value are named as non-monetary assets. We will take some examples in future. There's no problem. Just those which can be valued in terms of money is a monetary asset. Like we are saying that we have a technique. We have a technique to produce petrol from oil. Now, whether this technique can be valued in money terms or not. If it can be valued in terms of money terms, it is named as, because if you are interested to sell it, or if you are interested to record it in your books of accounts, then what will be the value of this technique? If this can be valued, this is called monetary asset. And if it cannot be valued, it is called non-monetary asset. We are unable to calculate it, then it is a non-monetary asset. Any technique, because we are talking about something which is not present with us. Intangible meant for which is not present with us. Impairment loss meant for what? Very simple. If an asset, fixed asset I'm talking, is appearing in our books for rupees, now it may be any asset, there's no problem, but I am talking about any asset now. Is that clear? So it will be a better thing. If an asset like a building I'm talking, its value in our books of accounts, in our books, is rupees 15 crores. But if you are interested to sell it, so its market value, that is recoverable amount, realizable value, is rupees 12 crores. If you will sell it into the market, it will be sold for rupees 12 crore. So the loss of rupees 3 crore, the difference of 3 crore will be named as impairment loss. It may be profit also, impairment gain. If books value is 15 crore and realizable value in the market is 17 crores, so there's a gain of 2 crores, that is impairment gain. So read the remaining all. Just wait, Jyoti. We will discuss, obviously. Just read the next definitions. Impairment loss is clear. Control, you have to read carrying amount, financial asset, future benefit, because these are already read by us in our previous lectures. I'm just giving you revision for that. Financial assets, intangible assets. So let's talk about the definition of intangible assets. Because financial asset is normally known to every student. That has already been discussed in our previous lecture also. It's an asset that is cash. So cash is a financial asset. A contractual right to receive another financial asset from another enterprise, right to exchange financial instrument with another enterprise under conditions that are potentially favorable, an ownership right in another enterprise. So all these are financial assets. What is intangible asset? That is most important because here we are going to discuss about this only. This is the important thing for us. First of all, it is identifiable. Its identity should be there. It can be identified. Even it cannot be touched, but it can be identified. Second is it is a non-monetary asset. Means otherwise we can't have a fixed value of it. It is valued by us, but it may be valued by someone else at some other value also. Its realizable value is not that whose value is fixed. That is, for example, I have a coat pant. Now, coat pant price is fixed, but if this coat pant is worn by some sadhu or by some famous personality like our prime minister have wear this coat pant or a hero has wear this coat pant and then it is going to be sold, then this coat pant have a different type of value for different persons. So whose value is fixed and universal, means similar for everyone. That is simple coat pant. So that is a monetary asset, but whose value is subject to change with person to person with heavy system. So that is not a fixed value because here we have discussed this thing. You may see here. Are money held and an asset to be received in fixed or determinable amount of money. So where determinable amount of money is confirmed, fixed amount is confirmed, but where amount is not fixed or determinable, we are unable to determine that how much amount will be received on it. So that is called non-monetary asset. So it should be identifiable, it should be non-monetary, it should be without physical substance. Okay. And it should be held for use in the production or supply of goods or services for rental to others. So that is a separate point. Held for use in the production or supply of goods, held for use in the production or supply of services. Means your brand name works, your goodwill works. आपकी गुडविल की वजह से आपकी प्रोडक्शन और सप्लाई में आपको बेनिफिट हो रहा है, उसमें फायदा हो रहा है. आप रेंट पे कोई जगह दे रहे हो, उसमें आपका फायदा हो रहा है, आपके नाम से ब्रांड बेनिफिट है. जैसे भारती वालों ने मॉल्स बनाए, एमबीडी वालों ने मॉल्स बनाए, तो मॉल्स बनाए तो उनके नाम से मॉल्स बिकते हैं कि हाँ जी मॉल में जी इनके तो लेना है, क्योंकि एयरटेल भारती मित्तल ने बनाया तो अच्छा ही बनाया होगा. तभी हमारे यहाँ पर हीरो वालों ने हीरो होम्स बनाया तो वो हीरो होम्स के नाम से सेल हो गया बिकॉज उसमें हीरो वालों का नाम था. So that is what, that is goodwill. Whenever any brand name is used for the purpose of production or supply of goods or for rental to other or for administrative purposes. या इसमें वो कहते हैं भी टाटा के जो ओनर है रतन टाटा, उनको हमने इसका हेड बना दिया. मतलब वो नाम ब्रांड ही इतना बड़ा है, अब उसमें नाम बताने से ही क्लियर हो जाता है कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पर्पज में उसकी ब्रांड वैल्यू है. तो इट ऑल वेरीज की हाँ जी भी ब्रांड वैल्यू के बेस पर किसी भी पर्पज में अगर आप यूज कर रहे हो, चाहे आप प्रोडक्शन के लिए यूज कर रहे हो, चाहे आप सप्लाई के लिए, चाहे आप रेंटल के लिए, चाहे सर्विसेज के लिए, चाहे आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पर्पज के लिए, किसी भी पर्पज के लिए यूज कर रहे हो, तो सभी में आपका जो है गुडविल है. If an item covered by AS26 doesn't meet the definition of an intangible asset, expenditure to acquire it or generate it internally is recognized as an expense when it is incurred. So अगर हम लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा है कि हाँ जी ये AS26 में कवर नहीं होता क्योंकि इसकी डेफिनेशन इसको कवर नहीं कर रही, तो उस पर कोई भी खर्चा जो हमने किया, जो एक्सपेंसेस हमने उस पर किए, अगर वो किसी एएस में नहीं कवर हो रहा तो हम लोग उसको रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंस मान के प्रॉफिट लॉस की डेबिट साइड में डाल देंगे. इफ इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल टू assume that as a goodwill because definition is not confirmed, definition it is not covered under the definition, then it will be written off to P&L account by debiting to P&L account. That's it. By treating it as a revenue expense of that particular year if it is unable to be explained. Is that clear? What is identifiable? That is normally known to everyone, but here we have to discuss the definition because definition is very important. Here definitions are important, otherwise treatment is just a matter of 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes we will discuss the treatment and it will be memorized to you. याद हो जाएंगी आपको, बड़ी इजी ट्रीटमेंट्स याद होंगी, बड़ा इजी एएस रहेगा ये आपके लिए. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, आपको सिर्फ डेफिनेशंस को अच्छी तरह से देखना है. इंटेंजिबल एसेट आइडेंटिफिएबल होना चाहिए. to be identifiable, it is necessary that the intangible asset is clearly distinguished from goodwill. Goodwill से अलग उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर सके, तभी वो इंटेंजिबल एसेट बनेगा। अगर वो गुडविल में ही मर्ज हो गया, ये हमारा नाम ही है जी, ये नाम की वजह से, अब देखो मैं कहता हूं कि मर्सिडीज की अच्छी वैल्यू है, आप सभी को पता है मर्सिडीज की, है ना। सो मर्सिडीज की वैल्यू बड़ी अच्छी है, उनकी गुडविल बड़ी अच्छी है, मार्केट में नाम अच्छा है, बट उनका एक लोगो भी है। सो अगर मर्सिडीज कहती है मैं आप अपना लोगो सेल कर देती हूँ अलग से, मर्सिडीज कंपनी ने, मर्सिडीज कंपनी उसी की है, रहेगी चलेगी, पर उसका जो लोगो है वो कहता है मैं ये लोगो किसी को दे देता हूँ यूज करने के लिए। तो गुडविल उसकी मर्सिडीज नाम की अलग है, उसके लोगो की गुडविल अलग है। आप सभी ने देखा होगा वो लोगो गाड़ी के पीछे लगा होता तो लोगों को पता लग जाता है मर्सिडीज की है, तो वो लोगो उसने किसी को दे दिया आगे, तो उसने लोगो दे दिया, लोगो अलग सेल हो रहा है, गुडविल उसकी अलग है। महिंद्रा नाम की, मर्सिडीज नाम की जो गुडविल है वो अलग है, मर्सिडीज के लोगो की गुडविल, गुडविल की वैल्यू अलग है। तो ये अलग से आइडेंटिफाई हो सकता है, अगर हो सकता है तो वो आइडेंटिफिएबल एसेट, अगर नहीं हो सकता तो वो आइडेंटिफिएबल एसेट नहीं है। हम लोगों ने कोई काम करा, काम करके हमारा मार्केट में और ब्रांड नेम बन गया, तो ब्रांड नेम हमारा बढ़ गया है मार्केट में, तो वो ब्रांड नेम तो हमारी गुडविल ही बढ़ रही है, तो उसकी अलग से वैल्यूएशन नहीं हो सकती। लेकिन अगर उसकी वजह से कोई ऐसा एसेट क्रिएट हो गया जिसकी अलग से वैल्यूएशन हो सकती है, तो फिर उसको हम लोग इसमें आइडेंटिफिएबल एसेट मानेंगे। ये सेपरेबल होना चाहिए। सेपरेबल कब होता है? जब आप उस एसेट को अलग से रेंट पे दे सको, सेल कर सको, एक्सचेंज कर सको। जब आप उस एसेट को अलग से किराए पर दे सको, किसी को सेल कर सको, एक्सचेंज कर सको, या डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सको, और उससे फ्यूचर इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स जो है उसके, वो उनको मिल जाएंगे। बाकी एसेट्स पे कोई इफेक्ट नहीं पड़ेगा, पर उस एसेट को देने से आपके बाकी एसेट एज इट इज रहेंगे, बस उस एसेट के बेनिफिट्स को आप आगे दे सकते हो किसी को। If an asset generates future only in combination with other assets, so if an asset is giving you economic benefit in combination with other asset, it will be identifiable only and only if we can identify the future economic benefit that will flow from the asset. तो अब मान लो वो कहता है कि हाँ जी इसके बेनिफिट तभी मिलेंगे अगर ये होगा साथ में, तो फिर तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा, फिर आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर सकते हम लोग उसको। ये दोनों अलग अलग सेपरेटली आइडेंटिफाइबल होने चाहिए। अगर वो कहता है कि हमारा जो गुडविल का नाम है वो सब, जो हमारी मर्सिडीज का नाम है, जैसे मर्सिडीज की बात कर रहे थे, तो मर्सिडीज वालों ने शुरू से एक सिस्टम बनाया, उन्होंने लोगो को सिर्फ यूज करा उसके ऊपर। मर्सिडीज नाम तो वो लिख देंगे, वो तो चलेगा ही चलेगा, उनका कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है गाड़ी के ऊपर, लोगो नहीं भी लगाएंगे तो भी चल जाएगा, लेकिन लोगो की अलग से भी तो वैल्यू है। सो अगर ये कोई कंपनी ऐसी है जिसके लोगो की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, वो लोगो जो है उसका उसके नेम से ही जुड़ा हुआ है। अब देखो मारुति सुजुकी है, मारुति सुजुकी एक कंपनी है, आप सभी को पता है। इन्होंने अपना शुरू से ब्रांड क्या बनाया, इन्होंने मारुति सुजुकी पूरा लिखा, तो इनके लोगों की अलग से कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, बिकॉज इनका कोई लोगो नहीं था। बट मान लो, एज्यूम कर लो कि मारुति सुजुकी लिख के गाड़ी बेच रहे हैं शुरू से, तो इनका लोगो मारुति सुजुकी जो है और जो मारुति सुजुकी कंपनी का नाम है वो सेम है। कल को ये कहते हैं हम ये लोगो सेल कर देते, तो सेल थोड़ा हो सकता है, ये तो नाम के साथ जुड़ा हुआ है। बट फिर इन्होंने क्या किया, बाद में इन्होंने एम एस ऐसे करके अपना एक लोगो बना लिया, बाद में बनाया इन्होंने, पहले नहीं था। अब ये लोगों की अलग वैल्यू बन गई। तो ये लोगो सेपरेटली सेलेबल होना चाहिए, सेपरेटली रेंट पे दिया जा सके, तभी इसको मानेंगे। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट नॉन मॉनेटरी एसेट्स आर नॉट टू बी एंटर्ड इन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट, जस्ट वेट। But a weightage of each and every ES is simple, that we will get 20 to 30 marks paper from total all the ES, and every question will be of 4/5 marks. Even 2 marks question may also be there. So minimum 5 to 6 AS will be covered in your exam. You will get minimum 5 to 6 questions from these AS. You know it well. We have 13 AS, and importance of every AS is equivalent. Any question may come from any AS. There's no problem. So you have to do each and every one. Yeah, Angel, there's no problem. Exactly, Abdul. Rolls Royce car. Exactly. Right. So I think this is clear. Future economic benefit is clear to everyone. Read it. Having any doubt, just tell me. Recognize an initial measurement of an intangible asset. That is most important. An asset will be recognized and initially measured for the purpose of recording in our books of account is very important. So how to recognize? That is the most important part. The recognition of an item of an intangible asset requires an enterprise to demonstrate. What is to be demonstrated? आपको क्या शो करना पड़ेगा? डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करना पड़ेगा. क्या शो करना पड़ेगा? कि इट इज प्रोबेबल दैट द फ्यूचर इकोनॉमिक जो भी इससे बेनिफिट होने वाला वो हमें आएगा, हमारी एंटरप्राइज आएगा, और उसकी जो कॉस्ट है वो हम लोग मेजर कर सकते हैं. पहले तो देखो, मैं कह रहा हूं कि मेरे पास एक पर्टिकुलर हमने कोई रिसर्च करके एक नई टेक्निक बना ली काम करने की. अब वो टेक्निक से क्या है कि हमें फ्यूचर में बेनिफिट होगा, ये जरूरी है. और दूसरा, ये जो टेक्निक हमने बनाई है इस पे रिसर्च वगैरह करने पे हमारे एक्सपेंसेस कितने हुए वो हम लोग आइडेंटिफाई कर पाए, वो हम कैलकुलेट कर पाए. फिर ये हमारा एसेट जो है इसको हम रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे. अगर हम कॉस्ट रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर सकते तो फिर इसको हम लोग किताबों में एंटर नहीं करेंगे. अगर फ्यूचर बेनिफिट्स कंफर्म्ड नहीं है कि मिलेंगे कि नहीं मिलेंगे उससे, फिर हम किताबों में एंटर नहीं करेंगे. वी कैन एंटर इन द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स only and only, we can recognize it in our books of accounts only and only if first of all whatever expenses are incurred for development of that particular intangible asset can be recognized. And second thing, it is assured that we will get economic benefits from that particular intangible asset. If economic benefits are not confirmed, then we cannot enter it in our books of accounts, beta. So if an intangible asset is acquired separately, means we have purchased it from somewhere, obviously in that case cost can be easily identifiable, there's no problem. It includes what we all know, that like I have purchased a license for making a motion film on James Bond. We know that James Bond is a copyright of someone in abroad. So I have taken a copyright from him to be manufactured here, or I have taken a copyright. I have taken a license for manufacturing of Samsung mobiles in India. So what it is? This is we have taken a right from them. So yeah, if I have taken a right from someone, so by paying some payment, so that is a easily identifiable asset. So its cost includes whatever is the purchase price we have paid plus any import duty or other taxes, except those which will be recoverable later on. If we have paid some taxes but it is recoverable later on, that it will not be included. Or any other directly, means just like fixed asset, how we are calculating the fixed asset cost, that we know that the way of calculating fixed asset cost and intangible asset cost is similar. There's no difference. And if it is acquired in exchange for some shares, we have now Reliance has purchased a license from someone else, from somewhere from abroad, or someone else from India. For that is, they have purchased a technique from somewhere by issuing their 1 lakh shares. So in that case, what will happen? We have to take fair value of those 1 lakh shares. Whatever is the fair value of those shares, that will be the value of that particular asset. Okay. So if we have asset is recorded at its fair value, in that case, we have to get the fair value of the asset, whatever is the fair value of that asset, whatever is acquired, or fair value of the shares or securities issued, whichever is more clearly evident. बेटा, जो ज्यादा क्लियर है दोनों में से. जैसे मान लो मैंने एक रिलायंस ने क्या किया, रिलायंस ने किसी से कोई टेक्निक परचेज कर ली. अब वो टेक्निक की जो फेयर वैल्यू, एक तो वो मार्केट से पता कर लो, टेक्निक की फेयर वैल्यू जो 100 करोड़ है, इसके लिए, रिलायंस के लिए. बट अगर हीरो लेता है तो वो डिफरेंट प्राइस पे लेता है, अगर कोई और लेता है, मान लो टाटा लेगा, तो वो डिफरेंट प्राइस पे लेगा. तो हमने देखा फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर इशूड। अब रिलायंस ने क्या किया, उसको 1 लाख शेयर दे दिए एट द रेट ऑफ 1,000 ईच। तो 1,000 का शेयर है, तो दे हैव पेड, तो 10 लाख कर देते हैं, 10 लाख शेयर है ना, 10 लाख शेयर और रुपीज 1,000 ईच, तो दे हैव पेड हिम 100 करोड़। अब वो 100 करोड़ की ही वैल्यू कर लेंगे, बिकॉज ये ज्यादा बेटर है, फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर, बिकॉज ये तो फिक्स्ड है, ये तो सभी के लिए यही प्राइस है रिलायंस का, क्योंकि कंपनी ने जो शेयर इशू करे हैं उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू जो इस टाइम पे चल रही है 1,000 ईच है। ये मार्केट में 1,000 ईच सभी के लिए है, तो ये ज्यादा क्लियरली एविडेंट है। जो क्लियरली एविडेंट का मतलब है जो ज्यादा एक्यूरेसी से हमें पता हो, जो जो ज्यादा लोग मानते हैं। लेकिन अगर टेक्निक की बात करें, टेक्निक तो मेरे लिए 100 करोड़ है, लेकिन दूसरे पर्सन के लिए 120 करोड़ भी हो सकती है, महिंद्रा के लिए 80 करोड़ भी हो सकती है, या टाटा वालों के लिए 170 करोड़ भी हो सकती है। तो ये वेरी कर रही है पर्सन टू पर्सन, तो उसकी फेयर वैल्यू फिक्स नहीं है। जिसकी फिक्स्ड है वो क्लियरली एविडेंट है बेटा, तो उसको उस प्राइस पे हम लोग किताबों में रिकॉर्ड करेंगे। So acquisition as a part of amalgamation that is already discussed, it will be treated as per AS 14। एक्विजिशन बाय वे ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट, इसके लिए भी अलग से एएस है, फॉर दैट अ सेपरेट एएस इज देयर। Even then you will have to see here it is, if we have acquired by way of a government grant, that is free of cost, means if it has been acquired free of cost, we have not paid even a penny or for nominal consideration, it should be accounted for in the books of accounts of their acquisition cost or for normal consideration. Okay, means if it is acquired free, if it has been acquired for, you may say, if I purchased land in SCZ, like government is declaring that if you will, you are interested, you may purchase land in SCZ, and that land will be given at 20% of its original cost. So you have, like we have purchased a land for 100 crores, of 100 crore for rupees 20 crores. So you have to record in your books of accounts at rupees 20 crore only, not at rupees 100 crore. And if government has given you free of cost, then it will be just recorded in the books at rupees 100, that is normal value. Normal value, just to show it that we have an asset in our books of accounts, we are recording it at a normal value. Important point, internally generated goodwill cannot be entered in the books of accounts as our asset. Means I am saying that my value of goodwill is 100 crores, but that cannot be entered in the books of accounts because this is internally generated goodwill. Like ICA is saying my value is too much, I am a brand, but ICA cannot enter goodwill in its books of accounts just due to the reason that it have a good name and fame in the market, because it has not purchased or acquired it from somewhere else. Goodwill can be entered in the books only and only if it has been acquired from someone else. Okay, and that is in case of our amalgamation we have already seen. So that is given here. Internally generated goodwill is not recognized as an asset because it is not identifiable and controlled by the enterprise, that can be measured reliably at cost. Okay, internally generated intangible assets can be entered in the books of accounts. So except goodwill, I'm talking about other intangible assets. If any other asset is internally generated, like we are developing techniques by going for the research phase and the development phase, we know it very well. There are two phases of every work. First of all, research is made. Every company is going for the research work. In our research work, what we are doing? We are just making experiments. We are trying to develop a technique and making experiments on regular basis. Now we are trying to make some technique, trying to do something and doing experiments. So if nothing is generated, then treatment is somehow different. If something is generated, then obviously it will go for the development phase. Development means we have to develop it by way of practically using it, by way of making a proper, you may say, research, and by way of making it ready to use. Because when in research phase it is not ready to use. Later on it will become ready to use when we will develop it in later stage, like government says that we have developed a technique of making warfare equipments. Now what it is, this is a research phase. Now later on they have manufactured arms and ammunitions by the name, that is, we have made a state gun 200 core, we have made it. So this has been developed, we have developed a product. So this is called development stage, and we have developed a technique, we have researched a technique, we have found a technique, that is what, that is a research phase. तो research और development में फर्क होता है. research में हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग काम करते रहते हैं, एक्सपेरिमेंट करते रहते हैं और कहते हैं ये काम हम लोग कर रहे हैं, और उसके बाद हमारे पास एक रॉ फॉर्म में एक प्रोडक्ट डेवलप हो जाता है, एक टेक्निक डेवलप हो जाती है कि हाँ ये काम हम कर सकते हैं, ये ओके है. तो पर उसको रेडी टू यूज बनाने के लिए हमें उसे डेवलप करना पड़ेगा, उस टेक्निक को प्रॉपरली. तो डेवलपमेंट की स्टेज क्या है, जब वो चीज आपकी एक्सपेरिमेंट ओके हो चुका है. ये पढ़ लो आप, यू मे रेड इट. Research is original and planned investigation undertaken with the prospect of gaining new scientific or technical knowledge and understanding. No intangible asset arising from research or from the research phase should be recognized. We can't recognize it. Expenditure on research or on the research phase should be recognized as an expense when it is incurred. So whatever expenses have incurred during the research phase, like for experiments, like for you may say research phase, we have incurred 1,000 crores. Whatever expenses are incurred, that will be debited to P&L account. But whatever expenses are incurred in development stage, that will be capitalized by the name of that asset. That will be debited to asset account, intangible asset account, whatever asset is generated. Development is the application of research findings or other knowledge to plan or design from the production or. So development is what? In development, we are doing that, whatever I have discussed. You may read this definition. So this is prior to the commencement of commercial production. Means we have developed the technique properly. What we have to do? If an enterprise cannot distinguish the research phase from the development of an internal project to create an intangible asset, the enterprise treat the expenditure on that project as it has been incurred in the research phase. Now, a company is unable to identify that whatever expenses are in, how much expenses are incurred in research phase, how much in development phase. Company says, I have developed a product exactly, and on that development of that product, I have incurred 500 crores in research phase and 300 crores in development phase. Then what we have to do, this will be treated as a expense of research. It will be debited to P&L account. Because this is a routine process, we are doing research. And whatever expenses are incurred for development of that product will be debited to asset account beta. But if company says, I am unable to explain that how much expenses are incurred in research and how much expenses are incurred in development phase, yes, total expenditure are incurred 700 crores. During the research and development phase, we have incurred total 700 crores. Then total 700 crore will be assumed as a research expense, not as we will assume that no expenses are incurred in development phase. Hence, all expenses will be debited to P&L account as a revenue expense, because that will be assumed as a research expense. So the major thing which we have discussed now, मैंने क्या पढ़ाया आपको कि अगर हम लोग रिसर्च और डेवलपमेंट करके कोई प्रोडक्ट को डेवलप करते हैं, तो रिसर्च करने का जितना खर्चा है वो P&L में जाता है, डेवलपमेंट का जितना खर्चा है वो एसेट को डेबिट. अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं लग रहा कि रिसर्च का खर्चा कितना है, डेवलपमेंट का कितना है, तो मैं क्या मानूंगा, मैं ये मानूंगा सारा खर्चा रिसर्च का है और उठा के उसे P&L में डेबिट कर दूंगा. दैट्स इट. ये मैंने आपको पढ़ाया अभी तक. मुझे लगता है ये बात क्लियर होगी. Is that clear? Now, when an asset, intangible asset will be assumed that it has been developed. only if it's technically feasibility of completing the intangible मीन्स अगर वो मार्केट में सेल के लायक है, अगर वो हम रेंट पे दे सकते हैं, सेल कर सकते हैं, यूज कर सकते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ कर सकते हैं उसका। ये लिखे हुए उसके फीचर्स। जस्ट रीड दिस फीचर्स, दीज आर वेरी थिंग इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग कि वो हमारे लिए मतलब प्रोडक्ट बन गया है, अगर बना ही नहीं है तो फिर वो इंटेंजिबल एसेट कैसे हो जाएगा। वेरी इजी एंड सिंपल। So which expenses are to be taken into consideration while calculating research expense or development expense? Which expenses are to be taken in research or development? So that is to be checked here. Cost of an internally generated asset. All expenses incurred that can be directly attributable or allocated on a reasonable and consistent basis for creating, producing, and making the asset ready for its intended use from the time when the intangible asset first meet the recognition criteria. The cost includes means very simple कि जो खर्चा रिसर्च में हुआ जब तक प्रोडक्ट नजर नहीं आएगा। देखो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, देखो साइंटिस्ट का अगर हम देखें, साइंटिस्ट क्या करते रहते हैं, बैठे रिसर्च करते रहते हैं, लाखों रुपए लगाते हैं, करोड़ों रुपए लगाते हैं, तो वो सारा खर्चा नहीं लेंगे। लेकिन एक दिन उन्होंने कहा कि हम लोग मिसाइल बना सकते हैं, ये मिसाइल का एक रॉ फॉर्म हमारा तैयार हो गया है, रॉ फॉर्म में ये मिसाइल तैयार होगी, हम मिसाइल बनाएंगे। पहले तो उनको पता ही नहीं था वो क्या बना रहे हैं, काम करते जा रहे थे, कोई ऐसी चीज बनानी है जिससे हम लोग अपने आप को सेव कर पाए। तो करते 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 उन्होंने मिसाइल का फॉर्मेट बनाया, वो भी खर्चा हो गया, मिसाइल को बनाने में एक्सपेरिमेंट करते रहे, एक दिन मिसाइल बन गई कुछ हद तक, एक रॉ फॉर्म में बन गई। तो जब रॉ फॉर्म में तैयार हो गई तो उसके बाद तो उसको डेवलप करना है, हमने सब कुछ करना है। तो जिस दिन वो रॉ फॉर्म में तैयार हुई उसके बाद का सारा खर्चा जो है वो हमने इसमें ऐड करना है। उसमें क्या क्या लेंगे, वट एवर मटीरियल और सर्विसेज यूज्ड और कंज्यूम्ड इन जनरेटिंग, जो भी उसमें मटेरियल लगेगा, जो भी लगेगा, सैलरीज, वेजेस, अदर डायरेक्टली जितने भी खर्चे उस पर हम डाल सकते हैं सारे डालेंगे। ओवरहेड एक्सपेंडिचर इनडायरेक्ट जो होते हैं वो भी हम लोग एलोकेट कर सकते हैं, वो भी एलोकेट कर देंगे। सब खर्चे उसमें डाल के उसका हम लोग, जैसे हम लोग कोई प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं उसमें जितने खर्चे होते हैं हम सब ऐड कर देते हैं ना, वैसे ही डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट सारे खर्चे जो उसको एलोकेट किए जा सकते हैं सब हम ऐड कर देंगे उसमें। ऐड करके हम लोग उसकी कॉस्ट कैलकुलेशन कर लेंगे। वेरी सिंपल। क्या नहीं लेना, विच एक्सपेंसेस आर नॉट टू बी टेकन, दोज विच कैन नॉट बी डायरेक्टली एट्रिब्यूटेड। ओके, अब सेलिंग, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एंड अदर जनरल ओवरहेड्स, unless these can be directly attributable. So if it is directly attributable, it will be taken. If it cannot be directly attributable, it will not be taken. Training to staff to operate the asset will not be taken. Clearly identifiable inefficiencies and initial operating losses incurred before an asset achieve planned performance. So any expenses are incurred for any expenses are incurred to check its working in the beginning, तो वो नहीं लेने हमने, ठीक है, बाकी सब नहीं लेना है। So it has been given in this way. Nature of expenses, whatever expenses are planned, whatever expenses are incurred on planning, it will be debited to P&L account because these are expenses when incurred. So these are revenue expense, just like revenue expenses, and debited to P&L account. So application of infrastructure development, that is depreciation. So apply the requirement of AS10, that is depreciation. Depreciation expenses are again debited to P&L account. Then graphic designing and content development. So for this also, whatever the expenses are incurred, that will be debited to P&L account. Beta. Operating expenses. So operating, we are trying to work on it. So these will also be assumed as debited to P&L account because these are revenue expenses. So all expenses, whatever are incurred, unless the it meets the criteria, जब तक ऐसा नहीं हो जाता कि वो एसेट बनने के लायक है या एक बार वो एसेट की फॉर्म में नहीं आ जाता, हमारे थोड़ा रॉ फॉर्म में नहीं आ जाता, तब तक के सारे एक्सपेंसेस क्या है, वो रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंसेस है, वो डेबिटेड टू P&L है। ठीक है। सब्सिक्वेंट एक्सपेंडिचर्स, एक बार उसको परचेज कर लिया या उसको आपने बना लिया, उसके बाद जो भी उस पर खर्चा करोगे उसको रेडी टू यूज करने तक का सब कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर में जाने वाला है। ठीक है, और उसको एमोटाइज कैसे करना है, राइट ऑफ कैसे करना है. After initial recognition, an asset should be carried at its cost less any depreciation or accumulated amortization. So whatever the impairment loss is there, that is to be reduced. If we are expecting that this much amount of impairment loss is there, that is to be written off. Amortization means उस पे कोई depreciation या उसकी हमें लगता है इसकी वैल्यू इतने से कम करने वाली है, तो माइनस करके नेट वैल्यू को से ले लेना है. और कोई भी इंटेंजिबल एसेट हमारी किताबों में आ गया तो उसको राइट ऑफ करना है, डेप्रिसिएशन डालनी है उस पर. वो राइट डेप्रिसिएशन डालने को राइट ऑफ करना कहते हैं, अमोर्टाइज करना कहते हैं. वंस एन एसेट इंटेंजिबल एसेट कम्स इनटू आवर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट, इट इज टू बी रिटन ऑफ, इट इज टू बी अमोर्टाइज्ड, it is to be depreciated. So depreciable amount of an intangible asset should be allocated on a systematic basis over the best estimated useful life of the asset. Just like in case of fixed asset, we are writing it off according to its useful life of the asset. If nothing is available, we will take maximum 10 year. AS 26 adopts a presumption that the useful life of intangible is unlikely to exceed 10 years. Maximum 10 years तक लेनी चाहिए, उससे ज्यादा नहीं लेनी चाहिए. बाकी आप चेक कर लो कि क्या बनती है, अदरवाइज मैक्सिमम 10 ईयर. So if we are expecting that its life may be more than 10 years and we have proper proof for that, we have proper estimate for that, we can do it. Now we have to amortize it. Okay, we have to recheck it at the end of every year so that estimate the recoverable amount of the intangible as asset at least annually in order to identify any impairment loss. So if we are expecting any impairment loss, that is to be written off regularly. आपके पास एक एसेट है, मान लो इंटेंजिबल एसेट आपने जनरेट करा है, वो 1 करोड़ का है. सो आपने एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर आपने देखा इसको मैं 10 ईयर्स में राइट ऑफ कर लेता हूँ, तो 10 लाख रुपीज राइट ऑफ करूंगा हर साल. तो एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर ये 90 लाख का रह गया. अब मैंने इसकी मार्केट वैल्यू से कंपेयर किया, मार्केट वैल्यू पता करी इसकी, तो वो तो सिर्फ 80 लाख है. तो फिर मैं 10 लाख और राइट ऑफ कर दूंगा. दिस इज कॉल्ड इंपेयरमेंट लॉस. जो 10 लाख का फर्दर आ गया, ये इंपेयरमेंट लॉस है. तो मैं इसकी इंपेयरमेंट लॉस जो है 10 लाख का, वो भी राइट ऑफ कर दूंगा इसी साल में. तो मैं इसको किताबों में 80 लाख का लेके जाऊंगा नेक्स्ट ईयर. नेक्स्ट ईयर फिर मैं चेक कर लूंगा. अब मैंने नेक्स्ट ईयर फिर से चेक कर लिया, नेक्स्ट ईयर के एंड में 70 लाख वैल्यू है मेरे हिसाब से. अब मैंने इसको फिर कंपेयर कर लिया, मार्केट वैल्यू पता की इसकी वो 72 लाख है. सो फिर देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम. इंपेयरमेंट लॉस नहीं होना चाहिए, गेन हो जाए कोई दिक्कत नहीं. तो 70 लाख का ही बुक्स में रखूंगा मैं. फिर मैं इसे अगले साल 10 लाख राइट ऑफ करूंगा, फिर 60 लाख का रह गया. अब मैं फिर कंपेयर कर लूंगा. मतलब हर साल आपने चेक करते जाना है. ओके, दैट इट मींस. समझ लग रहा है? कोई दिक्कत आ रही है तो बताते जाओ. Can't we apportion that proportionately? Yes, that we are doing. From the AS theory type questions come more practical. This is a conceptual based question, so this will come in both way. In this case, concept is more important, so we are discussing about the concept beta. Like this type of concept may come in practical also, impairment loss, etc. So that we will discuss. Means this asset is recorded as like AS10, not AS, like AS2. Cost or NRV, whichever is less. Exactly, Abdul. Very good. You have used your mind extraordinarily. That's good. Just like that. So many methods are available to be used for the purpose of amortization, just like depreciation. We may use straight line method, diminishing balance method, units of production method. It will be based on the pattern of consumption of economic benefit and is consistently applied from period to period. Once applied, it will continue. If we are expecting that at the end of the estimated life, useful life, it can be sold and it will give us some benefit also as a residual value, then it will be taken. Otherwise, there's no. We have also to revalue, like in AS10, what we are doing, we are rechecking the life of our asset at the end of every year, that if it has been reduced, we may review the depreciation accordingly. Okay. So that is to be done at the end of every year. When it is retired or disposed of, so it will not be shown in the books of accounts after, then obviously it should not be. We know it very well. Any gain or loss should be entered in the profit or loss account, whatever it is there. and disclosure is there. That's it. So I think this AS is clear to every student. Comparatively easy and logical AS. Which type of questions will come into the exam out of this AS? You may see preferably we'll get theory type questions from this particular AS, or some practical type questions like this. He may tell you that research expenses are incurred worth rupees 15 crores for manufacturing of a product, that is intangible asset, and development expenditures are incurred rupees 20 crores on it. So how it is to be treated? We know it very well. It is to be debited to P&L account, and it is to be debited to intangible asset account. So this is a practical question which will come into your exam, or it may be given in some advanced way, like he has given some expenses of research and development. These are attributable expenses. These are non-allocable expenses, salaries, wages, etc. And he has given this detail that this is the amount of expenses which has been incurred on it. In that case, whatever the expenses of research phase, we know it whether it is attributable or non-attributable, it will all goes to P&L account. There's no worry. But if any expenses are incurred in development stage, then all attributable expenses will be taken as the value of asset. Okay. Then he may ask from you how to treat the profit or loss on sale of asset. He may tell you that this much amount of asset is purchased by us. This is the value of intangible asset which has been sold. Or like AS10 questions, may come into your exam. It is just like similar. In that case, fixed assets are there. Here, intangible assets are there. One and the same thing. He may say that the life of the asset is reviewed by us. Earlier, life of the asset is taken as 10 years. Now, life of the asset is changed. This is also in depreciation chapter. You have already done in CA Foundation or AS10. Okay, that earlier life was expected as 10 years. Now we are expecting the life as 6 years only. So accordingly, new amount of depreciation should be calculated. So all that things are there. Impairment loss may be, impairment profit will not be taken into consideration. Impairment gain, but we are saying not profit. Impairment gain is not to be taken into consideration because do not anticipate gain is a rule. Write off probable losses, that is a rule. Provide for probable losses. So accordingly, a concept is used better. Very simple and easy, yes. Now, what you have to do before coming in the next lecture, you should have to read AS22 and AS24 both. Okay. So that we can cover that in the next lecture, preferably, or within the next 1 or 2 lectures. Okay. So read the last two AS, AS22 and AS24 that has been left. Remaining all AS are covered. I would like to tell you that you will have to review all the AS so that everything should be clear to you. Okay then. Any query from your side is welcome. कोई query है तो बता सकते हो. Otherwise, I'm going to close the session. Vinay says thank you. So it means for everything is clear to Vinay. Thank you, Vinay. Welcome, beta. Any others having any doubt? Doubt नहीं है तो कम से कम ये बताओ कि समय लग गया. Everything is clear. So if there's no doubt, just tell me everything is clear. Yes, fast, clear. Nice session. Very good. Manoj Kumar Thakur, very good. Angel, clear, sir. Very good. Many students are giving very good response. So thanks for giving such a good response. आप पढ़ते हो तो मुझे भी अच्छा लगता है. पढ़ाने का मजा ही तब आता है जब बंदा सामने वाला पढ़ रहा हो. अगर आप पढ़ ही नहीं रहे तो कोई मजा नहीं आता. If you will also follow me, if you will also read it properly, if you will also understand each and everything, only then it is good. If you people are not able to understand my concept, whatever I am teaching, then obviously it is of no use. Is there any difference between sweet? We will discuss it in our chapter ESOPs. Abdul, समझ लग गया? Sir, no doubt. Okay, very good. Okay then, thank you very much.